Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Ladare Lounge. Last episode we, well, we definitely something that I cannot remember. Either way, after a little break from me for recording because I did not have enough hard drive space because I had too much Savage content. Anyway, today we're going to go and begin doing an old nemesis of mine, which is Eureka. So, for anybody who is not interested in Eureka at all, this will be the next couple of episodes, because Eureka takes a while. Just FYI. Alright, there we go. I'm interested to see how this is going to go for me when I'm going to be playing it in a more normal sense. Then there are Scions of the Seventh Dawn, of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, if I'm not mistaken. So I haven't recorded in a while, so, you know, my reading capabilities are probably not that amazing either. Or my voicing, whatever. Very good. I have a message for you from Aunt Rowena. Well, it's more of a request, I suppose, though I don't have any details of consequence. She'd like you to assist with the exploration of a recently discovered island. Sure you could be interested in that sort of thing, being an adventurer. If you are, then you should head to Kagane and see Kotokaze, the proprietors of the Shiokaze hostelry. It's a long way to go, I know, but the island's out that way anyway, so... This is also the area, like the only way that you can get the relic weapons of Stormblood. You can only get them while going through Eureka and getting goodies in there. That is of course why I have such an interesting relationship with it, because, you know, I got all the relic weapons. So you decided to accept the invitation of the House of Splendors. Rowena will be pleased. Come. I will show you to your table. It's good to see a familiar face in these parts, particularly that of the woman who might well be my most valued customer. Can't speak. I gather you were not expecting Kryl or myself to be attending this little tete-a-tete. As you will see, however, this is a matter which concerns us all. It all began when a vessel of the East Aldenor Trading Company happened upon an island in the Glass Ocean. A deserted island which was not recorded on our charts, and quite frankly had no business being there. Suffice it to say, we were surprised. Pleasantly so, in fact. An unclaimed, undeveloped island in such a location would be a boon to our trading concerns in this corner of the world. Ghana is blatant as both dry with its tariffs. Dependent on the goods, we're paying more than 10 times what we do in Limsa or Rolda, which is already too damn much, believe you me. What my dear Rowena is trying to say is that having an additional port of call in this region, one more amenable to free trade, would be in the best of interest of a great many parties. Which is why, upon learning of this island, I immediately authorized an exploration expedition. The team was large and well funded, spared no expense. Alas, only a handful returned. The survivors reported irregularities with the island's ether, which we believe gave rise to a number of strange and monstrous beasts. Beasts which set upon them not long after they arrived. This regrettable turn of events forced us to reevaluate our assessment of the island and put our plans on hold for a time. If development was to proceed, it would require a great deal more capital than originally anticipated. So he came to me and mine for a handout, and I obliged. But before you scoff, know that some of my regular customers were members of that failed expedition, and what they told me was enough to justify the expense. Tales of treasure, of untold wealth and riches, and God knows what else. Aye, we'll have to wade through all them beasties, but with great risk comes great reward, as they say. Spoken like a born entrepreneur. Your ambition and ruthlessness are admirable, my lady. I dare say I could stand to learn a thing or two from you. In any event, having formed our partnership, we wish to dispatch a second joint expeditionary force to the island. That said, if you were to send just anyone, their fate is like to be the same as that of the first. So this time, we've a mind to send a Dab Hand, a veteran of a thousand battles. A true and tried killer. You see where I'm going with this? While I lack your aptitude for warcraft, I will be joining the expedition as a researcher. The Scions have an interest in this island. How perceptive of you. You are right. This is not the sort of affair that would normally concern us. However, after speaking with the others, they have consented to my participation on account of my personal interests. You'll forgive me if I say no more at this time. If my suspicions prove true, then I will tell you everything. I promise. There is more. Okay. Right then, I believe that covers everything. The company's ship that will deliver you to the island is waiting to receive you. You may proceed to the pier whenever you're ready to depart. Oh, and so you're not surprised, you'll have company. A craftsman whose help I reckoned we ought to have. He should be at the pier already. Ren and I still have a few things to discuss, so why don't you go on ahead? I'll catch up to you later. Goodbye. Right. So I already have like a wiki page open up for our little adventure, which is not going to be little at all. But I remember that there's another thing that I need to go and get. Actually, let me go and do that now. It shouldn't take too long. And there we go. Oh my god. Oh no. I'm getting PTSD from seeing it. You guys have no idea how much this place has pained me. Anyway, before we go and... Actually, wait, no, I can just go and do this first. And of course it's gonna be Gerald, because he's everywhere. Or Geralt, whatever the hell. And no matter how many times you say it, you whiny little shite. Are you about to let a bloody stranger waltz up and deign to tell me which way my bread is buttered? Now piss off. Does yours in stubbornness know no end? I have urgent business on that island, and I demand you take me there at once. I could hear the shouting half a mile away. Gerald, what is all this fuss about? Oh, Miss Croyle, sorry about that. It's this here bastard what's causing trouble. Ejika, what are you doing here? Did you really think I wouldn't find out about your letter? The nerve of you, trying to get a head start on your own. Well, sorry to spoil your plans. Don't be difficult. I had every intention of requesting your assistance, if and when I confirmed my hypothesis was correct. Forgive me, you must be completely at a loss. This gentleman on the right is... Wait, you already know each other? Do you not? Well, as you may have guessed, Gerald will be lending his considerable expertise to our expedition. And on the left we have... Ejika Chunjika, of the students of Valdesian, and you must be the so-called warrior of light. Charmed, I'm sure. I'll thank you not to get underfoot. Manners, Ejika, if you intend to accompany us on this expedition. Of course I do. If you think I'm about to let a by-the-book traditionalist like you conduct an independent investigation, you've got another thing coming. Should be glad to welcome the assistance of a preeminent scholar such as yourself. Now, if you'd be so kind as to stop badgering poor Gerald on board the ship, we can get underway. Ejika is one of the few surviving students of Valdesian. While his expertise in aetherology is impressive by any measure, alas, so is his ego. Christ. But enough about that. We have an island to explore. If you have no matters left to attend to, speak with Rodney. He will show you aboard. Oh, you. It occurs to me that no one bothered to tell you the name of the island we mean to explore. Am I correct? It's a bit grandiose and melodramatic, but we've tentatively named it for a place from Allegan legend, a forbidden land where fearsome weapons were hidden away for safekeeping. We call it Eureka. Oh, Eureka. Complete. No. I was not sure how I was gonna react to Eureka, but now I'm just having a moment. Anyway, this is quite something. So you can go in here paired as a group. Like, there's different instances basically. There's different like sets of like where people are. After a while, it resets. Like after a while, it creates a new instance, and then people can join that. So sometimes you will, for instance, be in an instance, and then it would already be locked out, and then no new people can join. Meaning that, like, slowly but surely, it's gonna just become more empty and empty. You do have a time limit in this area, just like a normal duty. I think it's 180 minutes in Eureka. Either way, you can go in here being partied up, so you're all in the same instance, or you can go in separately if you don't have anybody, and you can just figure out, like, you can find people in the islands themselves. Not too difficult. Other than that, as you can see over here, your gear level is just going to be synced. While exploring animals, you will have the opportunity to create Eureka gear and weapons. If you wish to do so, it will be prudent to acquire level 70 antiquated items in advance. So the items you get from the job quests are the items you will need to, are the items you will need to either make the relic weapon or to upgrade the gear, because you can upgrade the artifact gear, so like the job gear that you can wear, and then you can dye it. Should you wish to know more about Eureka Animos and what it entails, you can talk to Rodney. Alright, another thing we can go and do now, which you can do at any point, should you want. Dependent on which job you're using, you can grab either 2 cryptic seals, or 3 of these Damascene cloths. These things are normally obtained from a raid at the end of Eureka, and then you can get this gear, which will give you an elemental bonus and haste. I'll explain that once we see the system of how it works. Either way, you can buy this gear, but it's usually a lot more expensive than just buying the items you need to trade for it. So but you're just going over to Universalis, I think it is. Check out where it's the most cheap, these cryptic seals, or the cloth you need, and just buy this. Another thing that I want to mention about the Vermilion Cloak of Casting, it is a cloak, meaning that your hat will disappear. So it's a choice. You can either go into you can go into this place with any job you want. The more popular ones are definitely Warrior and Red Mage. For me personally, I'm going to be running around as a Warrior because that is the one I'm most used to in Eureka. And I really don't want to deal with not having a helmet. And also, I don't want to deal with needing to be extremely careful about everything in there. Because that place is hard. Stuff kills you real quick. Right. And now we've got this thing, which in all fairness like doesn't look too bad, but I'm just gonna be running around with my usual glamour. Alright, Rodney, let me see what he even says, because I feel like I'm not sure if the game is gonna explain it, so I'm just gonna ask him. Forbidden Land Eureka is a mysterious and deadly island. Maybe explore parties. Right. Good lord. Unlike instance duties, a given region within Eureka may be occupied by up to 144 players, with whom you may choose to cooperate if you so desire. You also have elemental level. Your strength in Eureka is measured by in your elemental level, which may be increased by defeating various enemies and gaining elemental experience points. Your level and XP accrued will be retained between visits. Progress will be lost when you depart Eureka. Please advise that elemental XP gains may be affected by the number of players in your party and the difficulty of the enemies you defeat. Penalties incurred when KO'd. When you are KO'd in the Forbidden Land Eureka, you will lose elemental XP, so you can lose your levels if you die. However, if you are revived by another player within 10 minutes of being KO'd, you will receive no elemental XP penalty. So it's very important. That is why like Red Mage is so popular in this area, because then you can just erase people. So people tend to be nice enough. Like if you just shout out where you are and ask for a raise, then they are like for a res, then they will probably give you one. Furthermore, if your current elemental level is 5 or below, you will not lose elemental XP when KO'd. There you go. Please be advised that if your elemental level is 11 or higher, this penalty may reduce your elemental level total below 0. Should this happen, you will lose an elemental level. The fauna of Eureka. Enemies encountered in the Forbidden Land Eureka are imbued with powers aspected to a particular element. This elemental aspect is indicated by an icon to the left of their display names. When engaging an enemy in battle, it may be prudent to alter your tactics accordingly. We'll talk about that when we get to it. In the Forbidden Land Eureka, you may encounter especially powerful enemies called Notorious Monsters. These are basically fates. You would do well to engage these enemies together with other adventurers if you wish to defeat them. Some Notorious Monsters will not appear unless certain conditions are met. Speak with other adventurers and share information that you might determine what these conditions are. And then rewards to enter combat. When you defeat enemies in battle, you may receive a variety of rewards. Amongst these possible rewards are protein crystals, which may be used to strengthen and enhance Eureka gear. Then XP chains. Upon defeating an enemy, you will have a limited window in which you may attempt to defeat another. If successful, you initiate an XP chain. Defeating subsequent enemies while an XP chain is active will earn you additional elemental XP. It's the same as outside of Eureka, really. You can have chain XP from killing mobs in the overworld too. You will also have an increased chance to receive rewards, as well as higher quantities of such rewards. Unlike in instant duties in the Forbidden Land Eureka, you may form and leave parties with other players at will. You may also use the adventurer list to seek out players close in elemental level to form parties and explore Eureka together. There we go. Alright, another little thing I'm going to go and mention right now, I'm going to show this off, is this little thing. It is the Eureka tracker. You just look up ffXIV Eureka tracker and you will find this website. You can click on this to see a detailed map of the area, which will tell you basically anything that you need to know about where everything is, like where the enemies are, where the fates will appear, where you need to get certain items and all that jazz. But for the time being, I'm just going to make like a new Animos tracker over here. Then you get little data that you can have. So you have to basically, when a fate appears, you have to click it yourself and pop it. You can share these trackers with other people. So usually there is a person who has already started tracking a lot of stuff. Then you just ask for a tracker in the instance and they will, if anybody is tracking you, they will give it to you. Otherwise you just make your own tracker and just try to keep up with everything you can, because there are cooldowns. If I press pop on this, there's a cooldown of 119 minutes before this guy respawns, or like before you can go for him again. You have the position over here. It will show you where the Notorious Monster would appear. And then this over here will tell you the enemy that you have to defeat for it to appear. You can also check these over here, these chests, which will tell you what type of enemies. My god, my mind. It will tell you what treasures can be dropped from all of these different things. What is this? Strider's boots. Prince. Right, that's such a weird fucking item. Well, anyway. There's also certain ones that require certain weather requirements. Most of these will just give you crystals, so the things you need to upgrade your weapon and XP. The only one that is a difference that is very important is Pazuzu down here at the bottom. But we will go and check that out once we get to actually, you know, getting there. Let's go. Here we go. This music is giving me quite some war flashbacks. Anyway, tune yourself to the crystal. You can use return to go back to the crystal at any time. Or the Ethernet shard. There's also additional ones you can find across the island. But you'll only be able to attune them once you have like a certain number or something. I knew it. I knew it from the moment we arrived. Despite everything that has happened here, there can be no mistake. I hate to admit it, but you had the right of it. I said I would tell you everything if my suspicions prove true, and so I will. The reason I urged the Scions to approve my participation in this expedition is because this island is the Isle of Val, the selfsame island that once served as the headquarters and home of the students of Baldesian, an island that belongs on the other side of the world, that was obliterated by terrible magic. I was fortunate to have been elsewhere at the time, but I know you were not so lucky. Don't suppose you have any idea how it could have ended up here in the Glass Ocean. Alas, my memories of the incident are muddled, as all I recall is a voice. That of the star, I suspect, faint and fleeting, but warm. And then I awoke on the shore of Alcharion. How convenient for you and utterly unhelpful for the rest of us. Would that more than Gallop's chosen heir could have received this blessing of light. And where are you off to now, Ejika? To find anyone else that might still be alive. I'll thank you not to follow. I work better alone. There's now... Suppose you're not without your uses, given your proven capacity for survival and violence. A proposal then. Should I learn anything of significance, I'll return here and share it with the rest of you. Does that satisfy, Krile? Here's a handful, I know. You needn't worry about me. I'm more than capable of defending myself. So, we have a mystery on our hands. Somehow the Isle of Val was transported from one corner of the world to this one. Ejika is right in that our first priority should be to confirm whether or not any of our comrades that were here are still alive. If someone is, then perhaps they'll be able to help us understand what happened. I appreciate your help more than you know. But before you can begin in earnest, it is important that you are properly prepared. The stories you heard about the creatures that roamed these lands were not exaggerations, and I would not see you struck down due to carelessness. Gerald has been working on something that may be of use to you. Why don't you go and see if it is ready? I have various measurements to take in the meantime. Come and find me if you wish to speak later. I totally forgot that I need to remove my chat block when I'm going into cutscenes. Oh well. Got ourselves dragged into a fine mess, eh? But when I still wielding that tavern debt of mine like a chef's knife, taking a pounds of flesh here and there. Wait, what time she got her hooks in here too? Oh well, it's no business of mine. We're here and may as well make the most of it. Much as you can make of being stuck on a godforsaken island where the very element is your enemy. And the only living creature want nothing with you, nothing more than to make you dead. Well, you've probably heard from the others about how the beasties there have been bathed in the twisted ether of this place and are somehow stronger for it. I know about all that, but I do know if you walked out into the gates and let one take a swing at you, you'd feel them in more ways than one. Aye. Not only can they rend flesh and break bones, but they can also disrupt your very ether. So if you're intending to go toe-to-toe with one, you'll need a way to improve your ability to endure said beastie's attacks. Rather, your ability to defend against attacks of a given elemental aspect. Goes without saying, the same principle applies if you want to hit the beasties back harder, aye? En route, to that end, Krile and I have been working on a solution. A magic contraption you can use to manipulate your elemental affinities and fight more effectively in Eureka. We call it a Magia board. Might take some getting used to, but I'm sure a clever lass like you will be able to manage. But the board alone's not enough, I should say. You'll need these crystals there. What are they called? Magicite, that was it. Type of crystal found here in Eureka. Pure as driven snow, or so I'm told. Lucky for you, I've got one to spare. Brought back by a survivor of the first expedition. Go on and take it. Along with the board. Reckon you'll find more while you're out and about, so I designed it to take up to 5 in a given configuration. To fix or remove Magicite, you'll need to avail yourself of that there Magia melder. Shouldn't be too hard. If you've got questions, direct them to the expedition engineer over yonder. Another thing, by the way, is we all get like an elemental XP up for the entirety of Eureka because they want to, promote people to do Eureka. The Magia melder may be used to fix the Magicite or remove it from your Magia board. When you have finished experimenting with it, speak with Krile to proceed. And now we have the Magia board. Adventuring in Eureka. So, Jesus. You have obtained your very own Magia board. In Eureka, each creature is aspect to a certain element, giving them a distinct advantage in battle. You need to make judicious use of both the Magicite and Magicite to overcome your foes. Raise your affinity to certain elements by melding Magicite to your Magiboard or spinning the board to change its alignment. The Magiboard, properly configured to an enemy's ethereal tilt, can enhance both offense and defense capabilities. Speak to the Expedition Engineer for further guidance. So, you can choose an element that you put something in. Now, mind you, normally you're only, like, your base stuff would be 100, but since I have this armor, which gives me that elemental bonus of 131, I already have more elemental bonus than normal. It doesn't really matter which one I put it in right now, because you can just spin the board around, and that's what you're gonna have to do a lot of the time. So there you go. The thing is, you can spin this around, like, by just clicking on it. Or you can right-click on an enemy and say, like, I want to be defensive or offensive compared to it. Once you get more than just one Magicite, we'll have, like, certain configurations that are really nice. Like, once I give you attack and defense. While taking preliminary readings, something unusual came to light. The headquarters of the students of Valdesian was situated in a tower, which appears to be encased in a magical barrier. Someone or something seems to have activated our defenses. I can only hope this was the work of our survivors, or of survivors. The very possibility is enough to make investigating the tower a priority. The question is, how are we to get there? Barriers notwithstanding, traveling on foot would place us at the mercy of the wilderness. It would be safer to make use of the island's Ethernet. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be in the best of shape at the moment. Not entirely sure why, but perhaps we can find a way to put it in working order. So, I have two favors to ask of you. One, attune to every Ethernet shard you find. Any difficulties you experience may help me get to the root of the problem. And if you can use them without issue, then all the better. Two, if you should come across a protein crystal, I want you to bring it to me. I made this request on behalf of our financiers, to be clear, which isn't to say that we shouldn't oblige them. We should. They have been quite generous with their support, after all. I'm sure you have heard this too many times before, but be careful. These creatures are unlike anything I've ever seen. Do not underestimate them. And remember to attune to every Ethernet shard you find. Starting with the one over there if you haven't. Oh. You may now purchase items only available for use in the Forbidden Land Eureka from the Expeditioner Provisioner. The Expeditioner Provisioner, whatever. Let's see. So he sells Eurekan potions, which give you a regen. Antidotes, eye drops, echo drops, just all these like anti-debuff stuff, and dark matter. Should you need to repair your gear. Also, you can mount up in this area. Just FYI. Also, the Bird Watcher is another thing, which will become like more important later on. I was not sure. I'm actually kind of surprised that I can get this myself. Anyway, off we go into the world. So we have level 1 creatures. Usually, oof, level 9. So like the levels of all these things can vary quite heavily, but usually when you're grinding levels, which is what I'm going to be doing for a lot, if you want to grind enemies, you should most likely go for the thing, yeah. It'd be a good idea to go for, what am I even trying to say? It's a good idea to go for enemies that are a level higher than you. Maybe even 2 levels. If you've got a party of people, you can also just party up, but if the level discrepancy is too big between you two, like between you and any number of people, then the game will basically not give you any XP. Because otherwise people could like carry others relatively easily and make them level up basically immediately. Which is not what they want. Anyway, from defeating normal enemies, there's a chance that you can get a protein crystal to drop from them, just killing them normally. And that is, since that is our first objective, I'm gonna just go and kill some enemies, and if I get a protein crystal, that'd be pretty dang nice. Yeah. Don't want to use a direct critical cleave when I'm almost dead anyway. As he proceeds to do that anyway. new enemies. Or like higher level enemies. Of course, having the stuff that I have now really helped, in all fairness. Having the one, like the special coats is something that just makes a world of difference in this place. The first island is still like kind of basic. The capabilities, like your capabilities, are still kind of limited, I would say. Another thing I'm gonna go and show up right now, actually, because I forgot to. You can go and press O and go into the adventurer list, and then you can see how long people have been here. This guy is like only entered here recently, so he still has a lot of time. Like 180 is the maximum time that you can have. If you notice that people are like, there's nobody, if there's nobody like really close to 180, especially in like peak hours, which are the evening and weekends, then your instance is most likely closed, and then you should leave and just go into it. Or you can just stay in an instance if you can solo everything, which is something you can do after a while. If you have the correct, gear, you can most likely, like there's a high chance you can solo almost everything. Right, so I got my protein crystal, and they level up. In Eureka also, like, there's certain enemies that react on sound, there's enemies that react on just proximity, there's enemies that react on sight. But usually you want to kind of avoid enemies if you can. They also, like, they follow you for a long time, so keep that in mind. If you aggro something, you need to be... Either you need to kill it, or you need to know that you can outrun it. Because they will follow you forever. Went beyond the walls, did you? Find any protein crystals? Yes, this should suffice for our purposes. So tell me, have you gotten used to fighting the denizens of this island? If you ask me, it's needlessly complicated. More or less, yeah. Haha, I should have expected nothing less from the warrior of light. In trying to discern the reason for the Ethernet's failure, I discovered what can best be described as a disruption in the natural flow of the lifestream in this region. I have yet to ascertain the cause of this disruption, but I believe you may be able to help me do so by conducting field investigations in areas which I have yet to determine. But as soon as I do, I will tell you. Right, let me hand this crystal back to you. Change of plans. You're going to give it over to Gerald. He needs to do with it what he does best. Level 70 antiquated gear and weapons may be enhanced by Gerald should you possess sufficient protein crystals. Lockboxes obtained in the Forbidden Land Eureka can be opened by expedition lockpicks in base camp or by Regonati in Kugani and may yield a variety of items. You may continue the Eureka expedition upon reaching elemental level 3, which I have reached already. Cause I'm just that good. Sold in, are you? Good for you. I'd like nothing more than to board the first boat back to Eorzea. And no use pining for liberation in what ain't about to come. Is that a mine? This depth of mine keep me shackled to this place for the foreseeable future, I reckon. Anyway, I got that protein crystal I've been waiting for. Good. Oh, I just will do, though I'll need more than just one. And I'll only be able to work with weapons or gear or the sort as made from practitioners of certain powerful arts. But I'll work like a dog if I have to, for your sake and mine. And then we can both bugger off this bloody rock and go somewhere else, somewhere every living thing ain't trying to kill us. Eureka gear and weapons, a new challenge awaits! Yay! We may now create and augment Eureka gear and arms. To begin, we need to provide Geralt with the requisite level 70 antiquated items and protein crystals. Right, let's go and talk to him. So what will they be? So you can go into this menu. 100 for the first upgrade, and then another 400 for the second upgrade. And then you're going to need another 800 for the third upgrade. Yep. And then there's even more. But wait, there's more. So there's a difference between protein crystals and animos crystals. Protein crystals you can get from normal enemies, and animos crystals you can only get from boss encounters. So, notorious monsters. So there's that, and then you can also get this over here, which will require you to have a lot of protein crystals. So the idea is to basically make why is this so weird? Oh, it's just for warriors. Has this always been a thing? I sure as hell don't remember. Anyway, so you're gonna need a +2 Farsha before we can continue with that. However, we are not gonna do that. The thing that we're actually going to upgrade, which I already have in my inventory, is the machinist weapon. So the one we are gonna go for is the machinist weapon. So there we go. If you're wondering about, like, will this give me specific stats to deal with, or like specific stuff like the elemental bonus for in Eureka? Yes, but only in the very, very last upgrade. So basically once it becomes useless. Unless if you really intend to spend a lot of time in Eureka. And then we have the lockpick person who can open up lockboxes. If you get them, man. I'm having a moment. Good news then. I believe I have discerned the reason why we are having trouble utilizing the island's Ethernet. Truth be told, it's caused me to reconsider some of the accepted truths of etherology, but I have detected a confluence of ether, which would suggest a blockage of sorts. I still don't know how or why this blockage might be formed, but this is where you come in. I want you to investigate the site of the blockage. I can't provide you with the exact location, but I can tell you it is somewhere to the northwest. If I recall correctly, there was an observatory on a hill out that way. Perhaps you might start there. There will be times during your expedition in Eureka when you will receive no guidance from the duty list or the map. Speak with other players and share information to discover how to proceed. So, where was it again? Why can't I find it anymore? There we go. Northwest. Northwest in an observatory. Another thing I can go and talk about right now too is that there is a specific challenge log page to Eureka, which will give you a lot of elemental XP bonus. So this is something you can do weekly if you do not feel like grinding the enemies. Then you can use that if you want to. But in my humble opinion, it's really not necessary. Alright, there's that notorious monster, which I'm just gonna ignore. Because I, can't fight it. The thing I will do is I will go and pop it on my own tracker. Just so I can have it out of the way. Right. So there's a house over there, but I don't think that is what I need to do. Yeah, I was wondering that. It's a plant, it probably noticed me. There we go. When it comes to normal enemies, I will most likely not fight enemies that are my level. If I can avoid it, I will most of the time just go for enemies that are at least one level higher than me. Preferably 2. This is not really the observatory, I think. I don't really remember all of these quest things. I could look them up, I could just look at the map and all the jazz, but I feel like that kind of takes away of the experience. There's my enemy that is 2 levels higher than me. Also, depending on which elemental type of enemy, like specifically the wind ones, which of course are the ones I'm fighting, this could only be a thing in the later islands. I'm not really sure, actually. But I think the ones that have wind aspect are usually like have a higher chance of dodging your attacks. They have just higher agility, I guess, or what am I looking for? Anyway, you will have trouble hitting him from time to time. As you can expect, if you need to get like 1,000 or something protein crystals, that this is not gonna be a good way to get them. But you get a lot of them from doing the notorious monster fights. That is basically how you should do them, really. Let me see if I can fight this guy. I should be able to. I'm a warrior. Also, when it comes to XP, I think you stop getting XP from enemies if they are, I think, 2 levels lower than you, or maybe 1 level already. Don't remember. These are details that have been a while. Partly also because of the fact that, like, I spent a lot of time in Eureka, but like the time I actually spent leveling up is really very far in between. Like, leveling up is almost a god to sort of just a small part of Eureka if you're gonna go for instance, all of the relic weapons. Mind you, sometimes you may die and lose XP, but I feel like the moment where you like lose XP, that has to be like, that doesn't happen that often if you try to reach out to people and get them to res you. Also, another thing, should you be like farming for a notorious monster and it appears, the thing that they just did with like Circuit over here, they type it in shout chat that Circuit spawned or whatever. That way, like, anybody who has a tracker can put it up, and that way also everybody knows that that thing is there. And it can gather people to go and beat it. There's a lot of things, especially on Animos, a lot of the notorious monsters you can just solo. Later on too, honestly. You can solo basically, like, you can solo almost anything, really. There's a couple of exceptions to that rule. But if you're sufficiently geared, then you can solo basically everything. Why am I still fighting this thing? Should we go to the observatory? Squeeze me. There's level 7 enemies now. Not defensive, no, offensive. I don't need no defense. Also, specific enemies may only appear during the night. Like, for instance, these boots over here. They are Ashkin, and they will only appear at the night. A nice thing, however, about this is there's a part in the challenge log that asks specifically for either Ashkin or sprites. So when there's a weather effect like showers or raining of any kind, you will also sometimes run into rain sprites or lightning sprites or whatever the hell else kind of sprite. And those will, especially on later islands, they will actually give you some very interesting and good stuff. Now not so much, because there's not much to give, I think, other than protein crystals, but on later islands you will also get some other interesting bits and bobs. If not more XP. Alright. Just kinda like fighting my way through these enemies a little bit. So I can get to that thing, because I think this is the observatory that I need to go into. For me personally, just going through Eureka, just for the story alone, and like no relic weapon, no nothing, you can go through this really quickly. People complaining about how much effort it takes really don't know what a lot of effort is. At least that's my humble opinion. Everybody is free to spend their time as they wish, of course. I just find it a little bit unfortunate because there is a lot of stuff like As much as I have an interesting relationship with Eureka because of the amount of time I spent in it, I can definitely see the appeal of Eureka. Like, I can see why it's fun. Even now, I'm actually kind of enjoying myself. Just going through it normally. Part of it also, honest to God, helps that I just know about it. The fact that I already know a lot of details about this really does make it a lot easier for me. But I feel like as a blind player it can be even more fun because you could just, you know, experience everything. There's so many boots in there. Which is actually pretty dang fine for me though. More XP. That I still also desperately need. Of course, the higher you chain, the more XP you get. So. I originally actually started doing Eureka as a samurai, if I recall correctly. And then afterwards I swapped over to red mage because I noticed like the amount of rezzing. Like I'm just too nice of a guy. Like if I see somebody lying on the floor, I really just want to help them. Let's go and get this. At the center of the confluence of ether, you find a shimmering stone, Magicite. As you kneel to retrieve it, the confluence dissipates. The Magicite you have obtained may be used in conjunction with your Magia board. Goodbye. Right. Can I please get my map? Either way, on my main character, I have gotten literally everything that Eureka has to offer. Well, maybe that's not exactly true. There is, like, I upgraded all of the weapons except for their, like, final stage, because the final stage only gives it the Eureka stat bonuses, and doesn't really change the way it looks. So to me, it's just pointless to level them up if I'm not going to use them. Other than that, I've gotten basically every, like, minion and every mount from this place, because there's a lot of mounts you can get from Eureka, but they are quite rare though. I've also gotten all the upgrades in that place, and it's just gotten everything. But I can guarantee if you're going to go for all of the weapons, let me give you one hot tip. Make it to the end first, get yourself an entire set of Eureka armor with the elemental stat bonuses, and then start doing your grinds, because then you'll have a much easier time. The way that I did it, I basically grinded all of the weapons for an island and then moved on to the next island. That is what I did constantly, which was a mistake. Welcome back. Were you able to track down that confluence of ether? Magicite, you say? Wouldn't have thought it the source of the blockage, but while you were away, we confirmed the dissipation of the confluence. Your removal of the Magicite would appear to explain that. So Magicite can impede the flow of the livestream itself. Fascinating. Anyway, we may as well keep it for use with your Magia board. Owing to your actions, I'd say we've made progress towards restoring the Ethernet. We've still got a ways to go, though. I'll continue my studies and let you know if I learn anything new. For now, I would encourage you to continue exploring Animos on your own. Right, and of course I'm not high enough level. Also, we did get a piece of Magicite, so we can now go and fit another one to our board. So, the way that this board works, as you can see, is with the beautiful little triangle. Let me go and see though, because if I have this, if I then choose to pick offensive, I think this is the defensive setup. Well, either way, it doesn't really matter too much, actually. Now that I think about it. What level is that? 8. Oof. You need to be close enough in level to actually get the XP, so I won't be able to participate in that one. Also, after you're a certain amount of levels higher than the enemy, they will stop attacking you. I think it's three levels. If you're 3 levels higher than the enemy, they will not attack you anymore. So you can just run around this place with zero issues whatsoever. Which one was this actually? Prove your arm medals. Level 8. Just came. I do remember that, yeah. Nice. Let me see if I can outrun this guy, because I'd rather go and fight something that's a little higher in levels. Oh god. There we go. Let's see if I fitted my guy. There we go. So now I've fitted my board. Since I have an even amount, it doesn't really matter too much, but at some point you will get like 5 in total. And then you would have basically one side that is higher level than the other one. And then you kind of want to make sure that you slot in your magicite correctly. Yeah. I think I'm not sure how this is gonna go for me, but I think I'm gonna like work my way through here. And I'm gonna go to the north and see about getting that Ethernet shard. Hope that I can actually get that Ethernet shard, in all fairness though. Because these Ethernet shards are also locked behind your lower. So you can only attune to some of them depending on your elemental level. Well, getting there is not really a bad thing either, so I may so. And slowly but surely I can go and work towards getting myself leveled up so that I can join some of the fates that are happening on the island. Because I will need the frickin' thingamabob. I'm going to need the crystals after all. Go. I think I want to level up more. I like once more, and then I can go and wait. Then it would be 5, and then 3 levels below the end. I can guarantee you, if I didn't have the Kieran armor that I'm wearing right now, this would be a lot more difficult. It's either that, or I've just kind of forgotten the power of a warrior. Since I never did, like, I never played on Animos as a warrior, so... Wait, that's so weird. No, it is correct, okay. I think I would actually be able to get XP from that if I was like 3 levels below. I think in actually. I'm not sure about that actually. I don't know anymore, man. I have decided to remove those memories for pretty obvious reasons. This mainly being that I'm just fucking traumatized. Also, apparently I wasn't level 5 yet. Whoopsie. But as you can see, it's kind of a non-issue. I can also guarantee if you've played a lot of Eureka, this music is... I usually just turned off the music each time. Because it just made me go fucking insane. It would be nice if this place had like some nicer weather though. Let's see though. Is that like level 13 suddenly? Well, that's actually a bit awkward, eh? Let me go and return. And I'll go and do the quest then. See where it takes me. If it asks me to go to the north, then I'll just go and see if I'm getting leveled up. Hello. Looks like you found another blockade. Then, if you're willing, I'd like to ask you to go and take a look for me again. I know I could count on you. Now, readings place this one somewhere in the northeast, an area we call the Orchard. Well, the island is quite a bit different from what I remember. I'm reasonably certain you won't have to go so far as the river. Good luck out there. You know, I feel like I don't really need the defense. So I'm just gonna put everything in offense for now. There's another one that popped. Oh, huh. I guess I was wrong about that. Let me go and mark that one too. That one's level 9. It's 4 levels higher than me, so I can't really join it. Big rip. Is this still, yeah. So the Orchard. That's where I need to be. There's a bee. Let's see how this is gonna go for me, huh? With the mana grenade. I gave up on my defenses. Or offenses. And I'm fighting an enemy that's 4 levels higher than me. Also, the quest like that requires to be a certain level, and then sends you off into. It usually sends you off into areas with much higher level enemies. So, if you think you're gonna be if it's gonna be scaled to a certain degree, nope. I really kind of forgot how much stuff there is to Eurekan, and how much explaining I needed to do for it. And we've only seen a little aspect of it, because this is only the first of 4 islands. I mean, it's better than, you know, in Endwalker where they have nothing like it, so. This was definitely a good place to sink some time into, that's for sure. And there's people who still just play it for fun. There's an entire freaking server that arranges like the raid thing at the end. Which of course I will also go and do, even though I'm terrified of it, in all honesty. That one, by the way, I will do as a DPS job. That final thing. I'm not gonna tank that. That is way too much responsibility. Okay, it's still there. Stop people riding LFG. You can also, like, whenever you enter an instance, you can just press LFG and people will just invite you in their parties. You're just running around. If you're in the area specifically for getting crystals or materials in general, then that's usually a pretty good idea to just party up, and then you can go and pop different fates all across the island. Well, that's not ideal. Now, you could have thought that I would have seen that coming, considering the fact that the bomb was coming closer to me, but... oh well. Sounds like a non-issue to me. bum. I wonder if there's like a way that I can go through here. Oh, hello over there. That thing over there is pretty dang important. Actually, we'll go and check out in a minute. So, an elemental. Stand next to it, and it will give you a buff. A very special buff. Where it increases the XP you receive, and it increases damage, and also makes you restore HP over time. I'm gonna go and do myself one of these, go into shout chat and say fairy. There we go. Or elemental, whatever. People understand it, usually. And if they don't, well, that's not my problem. Let's see if I can just, like, work my way around. And see if I can get into the glade that way. Or the grove, or the orchard, whatever. So this magicite thing is like somewhere in here. Wherever that may be, nobody knows. Got some birds. And level 90 enemies, yes. Level 9 enemies. Should probably go and level up the face boss. Before I go and deal with this. Even though I do have this buff right now though, so. That doth make quite a difference. As this may be noticeable with the increase in damage I did. Wings of woe. Oh, woe is me. Woe is me for being in Eureka again. I will say, Eureka is, like, I feel like the one in Shadowbringers, there's also like an exploration joint in Shadowbringers. Eureka is fine, but the Shadowbringers one is much better. Much more engaging, in my opinion. The thing that kind of happens with Eureka is you have to pay attention, but at the same time, you don't. Like you're like in this weird in-between area where you're supposed to where you like kind of need to focus. At least a little bit, to make sure you don't do something stupid and die. But it doesn't grab your attention enough, so it becomes like this very exhausting. At least that's my experience with it. That and I used to literally fall asleep when I was doing Eureka. It was so boring for a pro player like me. It was boring because I was always doing the same thing. Nothing really interesting was happening. And I did it way too much. I didn't just go into Eureka for the fun of it, you know? I went into Eureka because I had to. Which is not a healthy way to do it. But oh well. I got all of my relic weapons, and that is all I care about. The thing is also like the biggest reason why, honest to God, paid so much attention to, like why I put so much effort into like getting all of the weapons as quickly as I could, is because I wanted to be like up to date with the weapons. And with his grinds. Like for instance now with the Endwalker ones, mind you the Endwalker ones are fucking, I don't know, nothing. No, the Endwalker ones I'm just kind of fine, I'm like, yeah, I'll get them before Dawn Trail, and that's good enough for me. Alright, we also got this thing, so we got a level up from that. I want to see if I can get the item I need. And then I want to go and probably call it quits for the episode. But for the life of me, I cannot remember where this item... Oh, there it is. My hunch was correct. There we go. Right. And now let's go and just hold some back. Or I could go... nah, I'm way too far away. So once we finish this little side venture, we will have finished our first foray into Eurekan. Our first of many episodes in Eurekan. Mind you, at some point, once I like have reached the point where I'm not really gonna need to explore that much anymore, and I just need to grind, that as well I'll just be cutting out. Unless if we see like a new notorious monster or something that we haven't seen before. Look at this place. Don't tell me you found another magicite at the heart of the confluence? I thought as much. Like last time you detected a dissipation while you were away, followed by a marked improvement in the flow of the ethereal currents. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to restore the Ethernet to good working order, I'm afraid. Can only surmise that there's more magicite out there, clogging the proverbial pipes. But now that we know exactly what you're looking for, finding the next confluence should be even easier. I'd like to think. I'll keep you informed. And I'm at level 13? Well. Okay. Sure, whatever. This is going to be the end of the episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode of just that I was playing, not just Red, of the Dell Lounge, where I was playing ffXIV. Next episode, we're going to go and deal with more yawning. No, we're going to go and deal with, I think I'm going to try to make my way to this Ethernet chart over here, and then we're going to go and see if we can make a notorious monster spawn of a level that I can actually fight. So yeah. Well, actually, that is happening right now. I'm going to end off this episode and immediately start a new one. I'll be right back. Goodbye.